Since its premiere in 1938, Our Town has been a staple of the American theater. Thornton Wilder's Pulitzer Prize-winning play examines life and afterlife in a small New England town, asking us to value the everyday moments that we so easily take for granted. Thanks to its intelligence, humanity, and ingenious theatricality, Our Town has been seen throughout the world, and it's as popular today as it ever was. Take the current off-Broadway production, playing since February 2009 at the Barrow Street Theater. It's the longest-running production in the play's 72-year history. When you see this production, make sure you look for Keith Perry, who plays a deceased farmer in the famous graveyard scene. In almost 400 performances, he has never missed a show, meaning he's appeared in more consecutive performances of Our Town than any other actor, ever. Perry recently spoke with TDF about his record-setting run.
I think it's probably the humanity of the play. We've come so far from those days into the present time that we live in, and there's something about the simplicity and the beauty of that life that appealed to me, and I think that's what appeals to most of the people who come to see the play. Emily says something in the play about, I can't go on. It goes so fast, meaning time. We don't have time to look at each other. And I think we're fast approaching a time in our lives when that's beginning to happen, where we befriend and defriend people on Facebook without ever knowing them. We talk through restaurant dinners on the phone with somebody else when we're sitting at a table with a third person and never speak to them hardly. And it's just becoming so impersonal. And this play somehow had a beauty of relationships that always appealed to me. Some people are actually a little bit bothered by that scene because it does deal with death. But it's also part of, death is also part of life. And I think that Thornton Wilder is showing that it's a natural progression of life. There's nothing to be afraid about. In some ways, it's a beautiful moment because the people who are in the graveyard are actually waiting for that moment when they become part of eternity. And that's a very positive feeling to me, to know that you're going somewhere that's beautiful. I equate it to the stars in some ways,
right,
which is heaven for many other people. But for me, when I look up and have my lines about my son Joel, I really don't know in the play whether Joel had died, but I play a game with myself that he's going from star to star every night, and it's up to me, my job, to find where he is and then address him in that star. Oh. And it helps me get into that little section that I have in the last act. Well, I'm blessed in some way because 3 of the men that I understudy in the show are in that scene. So every night I can go over their lines with them as they're saying their lines. Also, I have lines scattered throughout the whole scene, and so I really have to stay focused because, you know, if you let your focus or your attention lapse for one moment, the cue is there and it's gone. It's not something that I intended to do because I have missed very few performances in my entire career. If I go into a show, I go into it with a passion, and coming from the depression where a job was, and even now, where a job is an important thing, I just go every night. It's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy coming to the theater, particularly at my age. I'm with there are 23 people in this cast. All of them, of course, are younger than I. And it's a vital time for me to come here. It's a privilege to be around them. They are so talented, young people. They're really amazing. And it's wonderful to just be in their company as well as in the play. And I look forward to it.